We also have a womb fight.
A what?
A womb fight.
No.
So
How does that work?
the ultimate battle. You'll have to see it for yourself. I've probably already given you too much.
The Midwest, home sweet home in good old Indiana. Place of small towns, cozy families gathered together, and fields of corn and rustic woods. But, like any town, there is a dark underbelly that often goes unnoted. We are part of that darkness. We lurk in the shadows to bring you the best in horror, metal, and stories of the grotesque. This is Blood in the Cornfields.
All right, welcome everyone. Newest episode of Blood in the Cornfields. We're starting it off here. We're going to do introductions, get them out of the way real quick. So here with me I have...
All right. Earl, it's a pleasure to meet you. I wish I had a better nickname here. I'm going to have to come up with one here. You know, if you guys have me on for a third time, we're going to have one here.
Hey, I'm still Marc. So
Right.
it's all the same. It doesn't matter.
I love that you said that your name was Big Earl last time.
Right. You know, Big Earl works for now. We'll do that one.
And as always, I'm Ivy. No introductions needed there.
Sweet. So what do we have going on? What's been new? What are some things been going on? Kind of in the world of, I don't know, horror. What do we got?
Yeah, so I know. Let's start with our guest here.
All right. So, big one coming up. Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out. I was talking to my cohorts here and letting him know the quandary here. As you know, Big Earl may or may not know, we got a couple of little tykes running around, and one of which is a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan, which is somewhat to my wife's chagrin at times, and so we've done a wonderful job of shielding him from the fact that this movie exists and is coming out. And the poor kid, I love him so much, but he's so oblivious. I've taken him to other movies at the theaters, and he's missed the poster that's been at Movies 14 for the past month and a half on it.
Negated it?
Yeah, it all negated in one fell swoop when during one of Hope's streaming episodes, an ad for Five Nights at Freddy came on, and he just lit up like a Christmas tree light. And I just look at her face and she's like, God, no.
The horror. No.
And all her hard work just gone in an instant thanks to non-skippable streaming ads.
Yes.
So that's all. I know it is funny. I'm like, hey, boys, it's PG-13. I'm going to, take it for a little test run and see if it's a hard PG-13 or see something, something we can weasel in a little bit earlier. So that's been life at the household right now. Sweet. And Horrorland with horror with a family, which is kind of the angle I always come at this from these days.
It's all right. You're the family guy.
Yeah.
Wrong with that.
Oh, and you were mentioning, the Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be PG-13. I think, we talked about last time you were on, it was about kids and horror and how to expose them to it, And honestly, PG-13 anymore is not a PG-13 that it used to be.
Bingo.
Yeah. No, it's not.
And so that brings me to I recently saw the new Haunted Mansion movie for 2023 that came out. That was also PG-13. It had some right to be PG-13, but also it wasn't that scary, but it was like baby's first jump scare.
Yeah. It's funny. We saw ads for that in one of the kids' movies. I want to say when I took the family to see Elementals, they showed ads for that movie anyways. So that kind of told me right there, all right, that's going to be a pretty soft borderline PG-13 one for them. So, you gave me the wonderful advice. Test the kids out on that one. And, if he handles that one, then...
And I tell you what, this movie, to my surprise, is long. It is near close to 2 hours. No kid's gonna sit there for 2 hours, and you don't see a ghost, like an actual ghost, until the 1 hour mark, and it's like, oh, why?
You didn't think that Disney's Haunted Mansion was gonna be the tool to teach your kids delayed gratification.
Right, exactly.
Was the payoff worth? Was the hike worth the climb?
No. If any, the special effects were good. They used some practical, but not as much practical effects as the original Haunted Mansion did. The original Haunted Mansion, say whatever you will about the ghost effects that makes it look like Scooby-Doo. Yeah. But you know what? At least they used practical effects for most of it. Yeah. Especially that zombie scene in that one I remember seeing as a kid gave me nightmares. I love that zombie scene now because it's all dudes in masks and everything, and it's damn, that's awesome. And this new one is all CG. Great. Lovely.
Something about the tacky dudes and math translates better and is more timeless from a horror perspective than some of that dated CG is going to look in a few years anyway.
Yeah.
Accurate. And Jared Leto was a Hatbox but ghost for what that's worth. Neat. Wonder if he scared people on set too.
And we also have some media coming out, which of course I always pay attention to. So earlier this week we had Insidious: The Red Door, which my understanding should be the last installment of the series. You never know. I have to watch it. I've heard that before. And then Talk to Me is also out.
How do you feel about that? I think it looks
I've
great.
not seen it. I don't know. To me, it kind of has a feel like Smile. Like when I hadn't seen Smile, I was like, shit, I don't know if I really want to watch this. Like, I feel like it's going to be terrible. And I think I just have to wait till my willpower gets knocked down a little bit and I get bored and there's nothing else. And I'll be like, yeah, fuck it. You know, let me go buy it. And stuff.
That day will come.
Yes.
There's going to be a 9:30, 10 o'clock evening where you're like, I got shit else to do right now. Your willpower will be resisted. And before you know it, that rental button is going to get clicked and there you go.
Yeah. And then we also had a couple 4K releases I did not tell you about this. So
awesome.
Remaster 4K is Pumpkinhead. And Night of the Demons was actually released.
Really?
Yes,
That's awesome. I love Night of the Demons.
Yes.
That's such an underrated film.
It really is.
Eat a bowl of fuck. That's my favorite line.
Yeah, so that's my little update for the media world for the most part. Wanted to kind of say before we got too much into this that we are now finally live, everyone. So we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we are on all your major podcast go-tos. So please check us out, follow, subscribe.
Especially if you're on Apple, like the Apple one, please leave a review, give it nice likes, and that'll boost our ratings. Not to mention, we'll be able to find other people that are curious about our podcast and want to know more about little Midwest Indiana.
Yeah, and interaction for us is going to be important. I mean, we have the intentions of keeping this more, local. With an emphasis on because we're going to do events, we're going to do things, charity wise. But like we actually this past weekend, walked in one of the downtown Goshen. Yeah,
First Fridays.
Friday. I almost died and fell over a rock.
You landed gracefully. 10 out of 10.
Like a cat. Yeah, so we creeped some people out. I tried my best to be creepy, staring in the windows, and got a few reactions. So it was fun. I think we might do it again. All right, with that being said, so today we are going to be talking about Toxic Avenger. Reason being, new Toxic Avenger. We have seen now the
trailer that dropped,
yes. We've seen the trailer that's dropped. We have some of the actors, and it looks badass. Like, I'm excited.
Yeah, so it is kind of the movie has actually been produced by a gentleman that's kind of a little known actor in a lot of movies that you've seen. Like he was in Green Room, he was in Cloverfield, he was in a couple little things. His name's Mackin Blair is the name of the gentleman. And he also is the writer for the movie as well. And get this, it stars a lot of big name people like Elijah Wood's in it. Peter Dinklage and Kevin Bacon are to name a few of some of the larger names that are in the movie. And it's so interesting. It's like here, this underground film is finding new life.
Yeah. Troma flick.
Yeah. Troma flick of all things.
Troma was all about the star cameos, but to see it pushed to that level is something I didn't think I'd see to that extent.
Did you not know about it before you came?
I knew about it, but I did not know the trailer dropped yet. So I'd heard a couple of the names, but now hearing that,
like, hey, we're just gonna stick the tip in a little bit, like we're just gonna tease you a little bit. It's it's just they don't reveal the face, they don't show too much. It's just it looks really interesting. Like, it definitely worked. It got me hooked because it's like just enough that you're like, oh shit, I'm interested. So,
and for those who don't know Troma, I mean, that is quite underground. Troma was created by Lloyd Kaufman, or Uncle Lloyd, as we all in the horror community love to call him. He basically started an underground movie studio that focused on the sleaze, the cheese, and of course the gore. Yeah. So he's all about it. He was so big in the 80s, especially, his Troma production studio. Not to mention, without Troma, we wouldn't have Mike and Jay from South Park that did their Cannibal the Musical.
Oh yeah, Trey Stone and Matt Parker. Cannibal the Musical gave them their break. When they went to make that film, they got laughed out of every network's room when they made their pitch to it. Showtime laughed in their face and said, "You're never going to get this."
And you can like, to me, I knew that was one of the reasons like they had gotten their start. I knew that, but I kept just going over my head. One of my favorite movies, Orgasmo of theirs.
Oh my god,
classic!
I love that movie.
Classic.
But like the over the top acting that's almost like silly is in there. Like the comedy hits are in there. Obviously they don't use the gore because they just went comedy, but you can definitely tell that it's like, I'm assuming Lloyd Kaufman influenced him. Yeah. Influenced them tremendously.
Absolutely. He's actually in that film at the tail end of it. Lloyd, he's the doctor at the end of it.
I remember
that's Lloyd.
Favorite movies. I don't remember that. That's
one of my favorite movies as well. That's actually one of the ones whenever I prospective new friends are on the horizon, I always like to see what their opinions are on Orgasmo, and if it clicks with them, then I know that they're my kind of people.
I just like to randomly say stunt cock out of the blue and smack my butt and then like get in there, you know?
Oh man, that's a great movie.
So Troma is incredible, and we love them so much here, but we want to pay tribute to Toxie. Toxie is kind of the one he's literally the face of Troma.
Yeah. The icon.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a big reason why they got the notoriety and stuff like that was Toxic Avenger. I mean, for me, my only other one, though, is near and dear to my heart, Romeo and Juliet.
Yes.
That's my favorite Troma movie. By far, I freaking love that.
Yep.
Class of Nukem High.
A young James Gunn, Romeo and Juliet.
Like, my God, that's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Teenage Cat Girls in Heat is another good one.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think there's Tomcat Angels is another one that I thought was absolutely ridiculous. But
you've seen Poultry Guys.
I've seen parts.
So that's one that actually makes my stomach turn, and that's hard to do.
No way.
Oh, that movie. There's certain scenes where I'm like, oh, stop. Stop. Be nice.
So with that being said, we... Again, to get back on topic, we're talking about Toxic Avenger and the, kind of parallels with the new one coming out, but then we also kind of rewatched and wanted to discuss certain ones. So I will be talking about number 2. I forget which one y'all got 3.
So I'm doing 3.
Yep.
And 3?
I got 4, Citizen Toxie.
Okay, all right, awesome. And of course, we've all seen the first one, but I had to go back and watch it because I wanted kind of a refresher on it, especially because I'm watching the second one.
Yeah.
So for me,
why don't you kind of give us a rundown?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the first one, kind of leads off where, Toxic Avenger saves the day and all that, and him and his girlfriend, run away, which the most interesting part of number 1 to me was like just how horribly the blind actress was. Like, it was just so amazing. She was so terrible, like the worst blind actress I've ever seen. And that's kind of the beauty of it. And the fight scenes are just so obnoxious in number 1.
Yeah, and I don't mean to interrupt you a little bit, but it's basically the plot of the first one, for those that don't know, is that there's this geeky little guy, Melvin, and he doesn't decide. I guess maybe he decided to work at like this fitness club that's like popular in the 80s.
He starts off working there. And
he's a cleaner boy, and he's bullied to no... ruthless.
All he does is want to fit. All he does is want to fit in and
Bozo
be
and
part
the boys.
to fit in with Bozo and the boys. Bingo! It's your classic 98-pound weakling story, but this isn't Charles Atlas's weightlifting program off the back of a comic book.
Yeah.
He just happens to take a dip into some toxic waste truck. Being New Jersey, the toxic waste capital of the world, of course. Troma's happy to remind you of that. And so much faster than any of those exercise bands could ever get you, then poor 98-pound Melvin turns into this hulking, bass-toned voiced monster hero called the Toxic Avenger.
Wearing a tutu and wielding that mop.
Nobody wore it better.
Yeah.
That's right.
So with Toxic Avenger 2, it takes place partially in Japan. So it starts out with Melvin and his girlfriend now have, moved on and vanquished and saved Tromaville and all that. Then there's a corporation called Apocalypse Inc. that comes in And they kind of have like a we want to take over the world type mentality, but Tromaville, now that it's clean, stands in their way. So they have the goons kind of try to take Toxic and his girlfriend out. They actually blow up a blind home like facility.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it doesn't really say whether they're living there or whether like the girlfriend's running it. But yeah, they blow it all up. And so the goons from Apocalypse Inc. Wow, I cannot say that, so I'm gonna stop saying that. They have the goons come out, and of course, there's like all different types. There's like a little person. There's a Klansman, which I found really interesting. And there's like a Native American. Yeah, they've got kind of everything run the gamut. So
Wouldn't necessarily be called PC.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, like I said, you'll get diversity, but it's going to be Troma style of diversity.
Yes.
You'll be represented,
Yes.
but whether or not you enjoy that representation.
Truth.
exactly. So, so they, don't defeat Toxic, but then they come up with a plan to let him know that his dad's in Japan to get him out of, Tromaville so that they can, take it back over. And when he gets over to Japan, he fits in very nicely. It starts to just get crazy with like senseless Japanese nudity, and it's very quirky and very Japanese style. So he's there to find his father, and he befriends this girl that he saves, and they kind of venture through Japan together, and he's in search of his dad, and he ends up finding his dad, and he like tries to sumo wrestle him, and it's just this crazy thing, but he ends up killing his dad.
Oh.
Yes. So yeah, it's really weird. They're in a market and they're fighting.
It's been a while since I've seen this.
Yeah, he like lands on this table and this guy is just randomly chopping meat, and he doesn't realize he's chopping his leg.
Oh god.
So he like chops his leg off, and it's pretty rad, and it's
That's
just
awesome.
senseless gore like Troma. Yeah, and he pretty much saves the day again, but over in Japan, and comes back to Tromaville and cleans it up, and it's typical Troma. I mean, there's not a huge story to it, that's for sure, but filled with senseless gore and just ridiculous acting that I absolutely love.
You had mentioned that you weren't sure if like the chick Claire was the same lady.
Yeah,
so she
because
changed drastically.
in the first one, she just was, like looking around and just obnoxious, but that's the Troma acting. Like, it's so hard. You can't say that it's bad acting. It's more like, it almost feels like a cartoon, like a real life, where they're like skidding and they're trying to run and stuff. It's almost like real life cartoon acting is the easiest way that I could explain it. Like when they're fighting in the restaurant and the guy's going in the fryer and the guy's like pulling the whiskey bottle out of his pants, and just this like over the top drunk that's like so silly. And the second one just takes that to an up level. I mean, in the first one, his blind girlfriend's got like provocative underwear, but it's underneath.
Right.
She's still dressed mildly,
like kind of modest.
Yes, mildly modest. But in the next one, the second one, she's just letting it all hang out. She's just like, she's blind, but she coordinates her outfits pretty good.
And it's like, how'd you manage that, ma'am?
Yeah. So they
Very good help at the store.
Yeah, they just turn the sex up, the dial in number 2 for sure. So all in all, a good movie to just kind of binge out to in typical Troma fashion. I can't really say much else. It's just, it is what it is. It's a good flick, and it's just full of senseless gore.
Was there any particular scenes that like really stood out to you that just kind of like, oh, that was weird?
One thing that stood out to me that was really cool is Michael Jai White is in this movie.
Really?
Not a lot of people, I think, noticed that. Yes, he plays like a thug. And so if y'all don't know who he is, he's a martial artist, huge action movies,
cool.
An actual badass in real life. And even Steven Seagal will admit there's an interview going on out there where this guy talks about like, hey, who's a real badass in real life? And he actually shit talks Michael Jai White. And the guy asks him like, hey, what about Michael Jai White? And he basically says, can I laugh in your face? Like Steven Seagal says is about him. And I heard an interview from Michael Jai White afterwards that they ran into each other, and Steven Seagal apologized like right off the bat.
Wow.
Because Michael Jai White is a badass. We all are familiar with him. He actually legit is a martial artist, like badass. And yeah, I just thought that's so funny that, I don't know if this was his first movie, but yeah, he was in it and doing like kicks. He's the only person that actually picked up a human that didn't turn into a dummy.
Wow.
You know, because they'll throw a person. It's actually like throwing a dummy or whatever. No, Michael Jai White was actually picking up the people.
Oh my God.
It was pretty cool. I love that about it. You know, just the senseless gore is my favorite part. You know, Toxic strangling this one guy and ends up, you know, just blood splurting everywhere. He takes this little person and folds him up into a basketball.
Oh, I actually remember that part.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So it's classic, you know, Troma fashion. But Toxic number 2 is everything that 1 is, but just turned up a little bit more obnoxious. So that's what I appreciate about it. Definitely.
That's awesome. And I got the third movie, which, funny enough, both movies, the second one and the third one, were filmed at exactly the same time, almost back to back in 1989. And it shows. Now, when you were explaining it, number 2, because I had seen the second one a while back, but it was, maybe college the last time I saw it. Yeah. And I actually watched it with my dad, and we were having a great time watching it. But like, it continued with Claire being super sexualized. Like, she was wearing the most skimpiest outfits. Yes. And I was like, I don't remember her looking like that in the first one. No. There's even like literally, I'll get into the plot, but there's literally a part where she's at a doctor's office with her legs spread open and she's wearing like this little stringy top. And I'm just like, she's at an eye doctor.
An eye doctor.
Alrighty. So but the third movie is called The Last Temptation of Toxie, so I think you know where this is going. It basically starts out where the second one left off. He talks about how he, defeated Apocalypse again, Apocalypse Incorporated or whatever, and there's like some foes that go into Tromaville that are starting to shoot up of all things, a video store that only shows Troma movies.
Of course.
They're like, no, you gotta have diversity. And of course, it's apparently a personification of Paramount Pictures and Warner Brothers and everything else that go and attack these people. You need more movies that are popular. Yeah. And of course, Toxie comes in and saves the day. But I guess that was the last bad thing that happened in Tromaville. So Toxie's basically out of work. He has nothing to do. And he's like, well, shit, what do I do with myself? So he tries to go into work and tries to apply for a job. But no matter what he does, nope, can't find a job anywhere. He doesn't quite fit in. However, Apocalypse Incorporated kind of sneaks in and worms their way into his life and is like, hey, guess what? We got a job opening. You want it? And he's like, sure, maybe, but you're bad. And so apparently they basically, in like biblical fashion, show him, you can, if you stick with us, you could get not just Tromaville, but you could get money. You could get anything you want. Not to mention, with the money that you make for us, we will pay for Claire's eye surgery so she can see again. And he's like, oh man, if she would love that if she could see again. Yeah. And there's this fear in the back of his mind because he's so ugly. He's afraid that if she sees again, she's gonna ditch him.
That's why I'm afraid of Hope getting better glasses. I'm afraid she's gonna get those eyes fine-tuned and it's game over for your boy Big Earl.
She's like, damn it, who
are you? So like he takes it, and little does he know he made the deal with the devil himself. Because of course he did.
Of course.
And it's like what they have for these set pieces, I have no idea what the budget was on this. Yeah. They make a joke in the movie that was like $2 million or whatever, and I'm like, that doesn't sound very Lloyd Kaufman of you. No. But they do make a joke about that, and it's like, you know what? The more we started watching it, my husband and I were like, No, they probably did spend that much because as it goes into it, gets more and more and more ridiculous. Yeah. And you can tell that it's some of the same locations from the second movie, but they reworked it. Yeah. They even have a Japanese sequence in it at one point. Not as like a recap or anything. Yeah. It's apparently like he like punches something into space and then all of a sudden it lands in Japan.
That's awesome.
Is the trademark Troma car crash in it that like the car was on like 9 different movies?
You want car crashes? This movie has, I kid you not, maybe about like 5 different car crashes, and it's using mostly the same footage. There you go. But like either backed up or sped up or something, and it all involves a school bus. So like with that being said, he does go through and he does get the eye surgery for Claire, and when Claire opens her eyes, she screams, but it's not at Toxie, it's at this very handsome doctor.
That's wonderful.
She's just like, so hideous. And like, Toxie, and then she sees Toxie and it's like, oh, she just falls head over heels for him and is like all over him and shit. It's wonderful.
That's awesome.
And like, they had the best sex ever after that. And like, he's feeling good. He's going to work and he becomes like this asshole. Toxie becomes an asshole. What? He's wearing a freaking Lacoste shirt. He's got like the whole yuppie get
like, I was gonna say he's like a yuppie.
Yeah, he's got like the little like short pants on, you know, and everything. And he's like, yeah, babe, and all this, and talking with a big old phone, but yet they're still living in like the dumps.
Yeah.
Like they didn't bother getting another house. They're just like, no, this is good. I'll just be a dick here. And like Claire's like, you changed, Toxie. You're not the same person. And he's like, no, I am. And like, so he goes out and he has like his little temper tantrum, of course, like you have halfway through the movie. They rekindle because he then finds out, oh, it really is Satan. Satan is like this big green creature. Like he ain't even red. No, they decided green for you. And he's got like multiple horns. He's not only horny, but he's also horny. Okay. Because he's got multiple women around him and some with like these weird like animal faces and heads and stuff like that. It's great. You know, like the Minotaur mask you wore?
Yes.
It's like that. But like with other things.
Wow.
With other animals. And like Toxie goes, you're big into video games. Let's finish this like a video game. So he throws him into this video game setting. There's like 4 or 5 levels of him trying to defeat this devil.
Oh my gosh.
It's wonderful. And meanwhile, God bless Troma for all of their practical effects. And for the actors in said practical effects, because I kid you not, every time the camera would like go away from Satan, they would pour more goop on his face. So he's literally like saying his lines as he's like going and you know they had to dub over that shit because it's like, what did that sound like on set? No kidding. And it's just always continuously like gooping down his face. They even set this dude on fire at one point. That's where half their budget went to.
Oh, yeah.
Because Toxie and Satan gets set on fire.
I was gonna say they did a fire scene in Toxic 1.
Oh, that's right.
It was supposedly him running down the road and stuff. So
that's right. I forgot about that.
I don't even remember 3.
Yeah. 3. They're basically in a showdown scene. Like they're both on fire and it's like, who can withstand the most heat? Like Satan lives in it. What about you, Toxie? It's just ridiculous. And I just love that the ending, like I said, the school bus scene, because Toxie's all about saving those kids. They run those kids off the freaking cliff at least twice.
No.
But like Toxie gets there in time. He saves them. Hell, this bus at one point turns into Christine and starts fixing itself halfway through, and it's like, wow, I thought we were done. And nope. And like basically the way he defeats the devil is just by proving, hey, I'm the better guy. I got you.
All right.
Pretty much it. Like he goes full Popeye and just
And that was that.
that was it.
Sweet.
That was it. Oh yeah, that's what landed in Japan. It was Satan.
Oh, Satan.
Satan, like a deflated Satan lands on
in
somebody's
Japan.
head. But yeah, no, it was good. But Claire has her eyesight. Apparently, I don't know if it changes later, but I haven't seen the fourth one. The thing was though, is the Toxie from the first one, and maybe the fourth one has changed several times. The Toxie that was in ours, the second and third one apparently died recently. So
Oh, bummer. Yeah, I'd have to look up to see who if the Toxie was for in a prior one. I want to say he might have been, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, there's this weird scene or multiple scenes where Melvin comes back. Melvin comes back as like there's evil Melvin, where he comes back and he's like tempting Toxie. He's like, yes, you can have everything and you'll become me again, and all that. It's like, no, I'll never be that. And so that's the ending. Now I remember. That's the ending. Melvin defeats Satan.
Melvin. He
like transforms himself back into Toxie, but like Satan takes away all his powers and he turns into Melvin. And apparently that makes his mother scream. That's what happened. Yeah. Now I remember. It was a couple days ago. But yeah, no, it was a good one. I genuinely like that one. I think, the scenes that stick out to me the most is just that stupid eye doctor scene where she's got her legs splayed open. And I'm just like, it's an eye doctor.
Yeah.
Not a gynecologist, but I love that. But yeah, no, let's hear what the fourth one's like. I've honestly not heard of this. I heard this was
this was done about 11 years after the third one, give or take. So this was filmed around the time of Columbine, right before unfortunately 9/11.
Oh my god.
There's a shot of the World Trade Center that Lloyd chose to keep in the release of it
Really?
at a time when other films were removing it when it happened within that window.
Oh, that's right. Well, hell, they did that with Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's exact bingo. Much to the chagrin of my beloved comrades here, within the first 2 minutes, Stan Lee basically mentions that part 2 and 3 were garbage and apologizes for it, and that part 4 is the real sequel. So
Stan Lee's in this?
Stan Lee is the narrator for the prologue and the epilogue.
Seriously?
No joke.
That's
so
awesome.
so from no less an authority than Stan Lee, I appreciate your guys' passionate reviews here, but that is not the way that Troma sees it. So throw them in the trash. Part 4 is apparently the real sequel, and so this
Man, they're pulling like Halloween and Exorcism and all this bullshit.
Bingo. We hate to tell you that you wasted your time 10 years ago, but guess what? So, that's the intro of the whole thing. And so it starts off, and again, time and context, 2000, after Columbine. So we're in the Troma School for the Very Special. And also a little bit of Lloyd Kaufman commentary on diversity, one might think here. Again. So we're in the Troma School for the Very Special, and it's Take a Mexican to Lunch Day.
Wow. Y'all gonna invite me?
Yep, when the latest school shooting, of course, you're always welcome for lunch. Come on over.
That's awesome.
So take a Mexican to lunch day, and it's all fun and games until the classroom gets ransacked by the diaper mafia, and of course, if he's going to comment on Columbine, it's going to be in the Troma. It's going to be in Troma fashion, where everything is dialed up to 100 on a 10-point scale, and so the movie starts off at 100, and so within the first 5 minutes, you get a pretty good sense of everything that makes classic Troma. You've got the practical effects. You've got the gratuitous nudity. You've got the ultra violence. You've got the over-the-top commentary and the over-the-top acting. If there's a Troma flowchart, and there's a decision tree to where you can choose ultra violence, you choose ultra violence. If you can choose nudity, you're gonna choose nudity. If you can choose to add a bodily function, you're gonna choose that too.
And I bet it's shit.
If you're bingo, the fact that there is probably an accountant somewhere in that company who has to determine what the shit practical effects budget is and make sure that they don't go overboard on that just tickles my fancy to no end. The fact that they've got a monitor on the fake shit usage that goes into these films.
God, I love that.
And
God bless Troma.
you can get in the first 5 minutes or so, basically it's Troma distilled into its essence to where somebody, if they've never seen any of it, will show them the opening school sequence of Citizen Toxie, and you can get a pretty good idea of what Troma's about and what it brings to the table. It's entertaining as hell.
Sweet.
But if it doesn't offend you as a human on some level, you're not human. This movie seeks it out and it will deliver it, which is fine by me, because if you're gonna offend me, entertain me.
Right.
And it delivers that and what it brings. And so, start off with the diaper mafia and Joe Fleshiker, aka Lardass in this film, Toxic Avenger sidekick.
Oh, he's got a sidekick now.
Yes, that's Lardass.
That's awesome.
And so, I'm not going to spoil too much here. The kill sequences also are incredible in this movie. I don't want to give anything away on that one. Tons of fun to watch those. A lot of creativity goes into them, and you can definitely see that here and part 4. Minor spoilers are going to be included in this. Lardass eats a bomb that happens to create a parallel universe. That's right, baby. Multiverse before his multiverse.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which, by the way, James Gunn is in this film.
That's
Troma
freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Joxie gets transported to Amortville and replaced in Tromaville with his evil parallel universe doppelganger, Noxie. Despite being the most famous superhero in Troma and in all of New Jersey, people apparently can't tell the difference that Toxie now has hair and also has a gold emblem that says N around his neck anyways. And so Noxie makes his introduction to Troma by ripping the arms off the police chief. Amidst everybody there that was there to witness Toxie save the day at the Troma School for the Very Special.
Sweet.
So what we end up seeing through the rest of the film then is Toxie trying to make his way back from Amortville, where everything is basically swapped, and running into the same characters, of course, doing different things, except for the Diaper Mafia, who they're not the Diaper Mafia, but they're still dirtbags. So I don't know. Apparently they didn't get the memo that they were supposed to switch characters on that one. But the story revolves around Toxie trying to get back home and basically reclaim his spot, and you see the mayhem that Noxie, the evil doppelganger, wreaks on Troma while this whole thing is happening here. And so, in this, you do get a bit of Lloyd's social commentary going on as far as, violence being sensationalized in the news.
Yeah.
When commentating on the school shooting. Is it the video games? Is it the rap music? Oh no, it totally could never be violence on the news in the way we glorify it. Not in a million years. Like, never. So, you do get that. And of course, old Lloyd, he's going to give it to you as subtle as a jackhammer. But hey, if we're watching Troma films, that's the way we like it. Subtle's not the flavor here. We want it. It's all going to be saturated, and that's what it delivers. That, in a nutshell, is what you're going to get in Citizen Toxie. All right, I got notes here.
I'm so sorry.
All right.
Y'all can't see him, but we see him flipping page.
That's right.
I look like the fucking slacker. I got none. I'm just improvising this shit. And you got 4 pages of fucking notes. Like, what?
I'm proud of you, Earl.
That's how I was in tests, though. Was that how you did tests as a kid?
Oh, dude, I was the laziest student ever in history. I didn't write
That's how you
shit
used to
down.
do tests too.
Yeah.
Man.
Is it? Oh,
I put more work into this than
I did tests. Yeah,
Same. I got a page.
Don't tell my mom this. I put more work into studying for this and taking notes for it than I did most of the tests I ever took.
That's awesome.
That's just, that's
We're
just,
impressed. That's the thing.
Yeah, and so, long story short, that's basically what you get out of it. And so you get to see Toxie's interaction and trying to get back to Tromaville. You get to see Noxie wreaking havoc, and you get to see a lot of Lloyd's opinions shine through and the scenarios that play out in that. Lloyd's a vegetarian, and of course he made the movie Poultry Guys, which is about as brutal of a takedown on a fast food store, food industry as you'd ever see. And you get a little piece of that here because another minor spoiler, there's a place in Amortville where the hot dog factory is being run by a mad cow butcher. Of course, it's a mad cow.
Oh my
Who's
God.
actually butchering and doing these things.
That's awesome.
And you get to see Lloyd's the inner workings of the Troma hot dog factory as done by Lloyd Kaufman, and so you can get a pretty good idea of the scathing views that he takes on it by how he interprets that. It's also funny, Mark, you mentioned the clan making appearance in your Toxic Avenger film. Very entertaining sequence in this one where Lloyd again takes a social evil. He takes racism and lynching in this instance and hate crimes, and takes that for a spin on its head. And so, unfortunately, in the movie, a young African American, you see him being drugged by these hillbillies, but in a pickup truck down the road until he's nothing left but a disembodied head.
Oh, man.
That can still talk, mind you. He's still okay. He can.
Oh my God!
And so
really?
his goal is to get his body back. But yes, he's still alive at the end of it. And so man, you're gonna make a liar out of me here because I'm gonna have to spoil one kill for you.
That's fine. Right, do it.
And so Toxie manages to catch up to said racist hillbillies and grills one of their heads on the engine block. And of course, once the hood pops down, he's black.
Oh my God!
Because he charred him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Toxie, they then take him to a Klan meeting, where then he is killed by the Klan, as he's trying to say, "No, wait, guys, I'm one of you."
That's fine.
Like I said, irony in only the Troma way, where it can be delivered in the heaviest hand possible.
Yes. That's awesome.
And so, like I said, when you think of the classic Troma recipe and what you're looking for in a film, that's what Citizen Toxie delivers. If you want to break somebody in quickly, have them watch the first 10 minutes in this film, and that will give you Troma in a nutshell. Everything that makes Troma is there in this film. As far as favorite sequences, that one just hilarious to me. The other one that cracked me up is later in the film, Noxie becomes mayor. Apparently it's like a Highlander thing where if you kill the mayor, you become him. And so he kills the mayor and then becomes the mayor. So Ron Jeremy gets murdered there. Yeah, he's the mayor.
Ron Jeremy is?
Absolutely.
All right.
What they call him, the hedgehog?
Oh, you're killing me. So Ron Jeremy was the mayor. He's not now. Now that's Noxie's job. And when they do it, there's this black and white sequence that they film in the style of Citizen Kane and those old 1930s, 1940s newsreels that you would see in movie theaters before your show would start. And it's this few-minute expose on life in the mayor's mansion that the taxpayers paid for. And you basically just get to see Noxie just wreak hell for a good 3-4 minutes. But done in the style of the old romanticized vintage newsreels and Citizen Kane.
Nice.
Of it. And I just thought it was a really well done, entertaining scene and homage and really well executed, and just you'll crack your shit up. It's funny.
So I need to know, how's Claire? Is Claire okay? Is she still blind?
Claire is blind as a bat, except the Immortville Claire, who can see but is deaf.
Oh, Claire.
Yep. But she's deaf, but magically her speaking gets better as it goes along, to the point to where they have an interpreter, topless of course, and the coroner, who originally will interpret and say what Claire is trying to tell you, until eventually Claire is legible enough you don't need her anymore.
Oh, that's funny.
So they just show the girl anyways when Claire talks, eating a piece of pizza or having a smoke break.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's great. We got through all 4 movies, so hopefully that tells you.
4 does sound better than 2 and 3. I'm just kind of like...
It packed a lot into it. Like I said, watch it. Perfectly enjoyable. It's a worthy sequel, and if they were going to bring it back after being dormant for a decade, I think 4 was the right way to do it. Also, funny, Ivy, that you had mentioned Melvin. Evil Melvin also makes an appearance.
He's back.
He's back.
Oh man,
he's back.
Does he have bad,
like I said, I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but like I said, you'll see Evil Melvin, and the way that they loop it together. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Okay, but does Melvin still have like his weird little fake beaver chiclet teeth?
It's tough to say. They really didn't show his teeth all that much.
Oh, that's good. They made a big point of it in the third movie.
A bit of it, but yeah, I mean, the point that's there is that he bites the shit out of Toxie at some point.
God. Okay.
All right.
Damn.
So that's in there. Yeah, I will also say, as far as content goes, yeah, I mean, if you're a normal red-blooded human with any sensibility, something in this film ought to offend you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be afraid you were some sort of psychopath or something,
Right.
or the little Troma didn't do their job well enough. And at this point,
kidding.
I think they did.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, this is one of the, I think it's about the only comedy and fight scene I can remember taking place in an abortion clinic. And we also have a womb fight.
A what?
A womb fight.
You're not kidding.
I am
Is Claire
100%
pregnant?
not kidding. Claire is pregnant with twins.
Oh.
So as you
baby
might,
Toxies.
yes, as you might imagine, one is from Toxie and one is from Noxie.
No.
So
How does that work?
the ultimate battle, you'll have to see it for yourself. I've probably already given you too much. But the ultimate battle for good and evil will take place in the real
womb?
world, in Troma, and in the universe that is Claire's womb.
That's
Inception.
awesome.
It's a universe in a universe in a universe.
So it's just so interesting that like this heavy R-rated thing,
Yeah.
movie franchise has a cartoon show to go with it.
Yes.
The Toxic Crusaders.
The fact that got that was pitched as a Saturday morning cartoon and succeeded just blows my mind, and I love the fact that it happened.
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And Lloyd Kaufman is like in it as well. You like introduces each cartoon. You best believe Casper's gonna know who the Toxic Crusaders are.
There is this era where they would take these purely adult entertainment
RoboCop.
shows and turn them into kids products, and it just cracks me up that it played out that way. You had the same thing happen with Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That was a 90s one, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Shit.
But yeah, Toxic Crusaders, that was a Nintendo game back in the day too. I remember that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was a Nintendo game. Holy shit. I think I feel like I remember that. That's crazy.
And not to mention, like, I remember looking into it at one point because I was genuinely curious to see, like, how much, like, the Toxic Crusaders, like, figurines go for now.
Oh man.
Expensive.
Big bucks.
They're
bummer.
expensive. But, like, apparently there was, like, this phenomenon that went around because I guess the Toxic Crusaders was on, like, not AMC, but was on like some other network that a lot of kids didn't know what Toxic Crusaders was, but they remember the toys.
Oh.
Like the toys were more popular than the show because the show was on cable.
Interesting.
But yeah, they're buku expensive. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to try to get a Toxic Crusader toy at some point.
I feel like there can't be that many floating around out there.
Right? I mean,
That's probably what drives the price up.
Oh, yeah.
You got hardcore fans, and probably a dozen of those things got made. And
Listen, I paid $200 for a chop top. I get it. I totally understand.
or, hey, the kids who got that, you didn't get that to keep it in the package, man. You got that, get that out to play
they
with
went
it.
out of the package.
oh my
That's
God.
all.
And that
Oh,
thing's
yeah.
like your old He-Man toys. They got
Oh,
an
yeah.
arm sprawled over here, Oh, that's awesome, though. I'm glad that we were able to, like, review these. But just so y'all know, they are on Tubi. All of them are on Tubi. That's how I was able
yes.
to watch them. Yes, we have some on VHS here as well. But if you are not privy to VHSs and you do not have that, they are all on Tubi right now.
Yeah.
And that's free with ads.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't buy the VHS, though.
Please do. Please,
Support-
if you
yes.
can support Lloyd Kaufman, do it.
Support your small producers, people.
Yeah, because Lloyd Kaufman is still kicking. He's still doing stuff. I don't know what involvement he has with the new Toxic Avenger. I don't know what he thinks about it, but to my knowledge, he's still kicking. He's still doing Troma movies.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Lloyd would have signed off having the final say on whether or not that got made. That's just me, though. I mean, I'm not privy to the business dealings of it, but
Right.
that's the film that made the studio and bankrolled so much for them.
That's what made Tromaville.
I don't think he would hand over the keys of the kingdom without having final say over what we're going to see out of this latest Toxic Avenger movie, which I am stoked to see.
Yeah. And I think as it trailers come along and progress, I'm sure we will give you all updates.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because we're going to be watching this like a hawk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I definitely am looking forward to.
That and Street Trash.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a remake of Street Trash.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Absolutely. Sweet. Well, we appreciate y'all tuning in with us. We will be updating you on all the cool stuff that we're doing. We really appreciate you if you're following us on any social media or if any platforms. We got some views, more than I thought, actually, you guys. So that's pretty badass.
Yes,
So,
thank you so much.
yes,
man.
keep it going. If you have any questions, email us. Let us know. We got t-shirts.
Yeah, DM us.
On, social media. I literally just got another shipment in today. So I have
Yes,
a bunch
solo
of different
shirts.
sizes. Yes, so please feel free to interact, hit us up, and
Look after each other, and good night, cellar dwellers.